Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So welcome to another Market Open stream. Market bell is about to ring, and today I want to talk about what's coming for Bitcoin. We have started a new month. It is June now, so are better days coming for Bitcoin. Let's discuss. Welcome, guys. U.S. market, kind of mixed. The bell has just rung. So right now, in the U.S., of course, the biggest issue is still the debt ceiling. I'm sick of talking about debt ceiling every single day. But that's where we stand. The House has passed it. Now it's the Senate. And we have 4 days until the U.S. defaults. Today was actually supposed to be the deadline, but somehow Janet Yellen found a few billions hidden, I don't know, somewhere between the sofa cushions. I don't know, but she found some more money, so we can default a few days later. So the Senate has 3 more days to decide whether or not to let this new proposal go through, which I think everyone thinks it will. But until then, the market is just not moving whatsoever. We're not going to see any significant rallies because of it. So that's the situation we're in right now. Again, this has, 4 more days? They have 4 more days until this gets resolved. June 4th or 5th. 5th is now the deadline. All right. In other news, I think this is positive, and I mentioned this last night too. So now there does seem to be this, I don't know, there's this new notion that I already said should have been in place for months already. This notion of, hey, maybe we don't need to keep raising rates. Maybe we just stop. Maybe we just stop and evaluate what's going on in the U.S. So that's looking like it's going to happen. Of course, we have the new vice chairman nominee that's saying this. It's not Powell saying this, but since he's saying it and he's the second guy, he's going to be the second guy in charge, right? People are thinking, well, this makes a whole lot of sense, right? So the prediction for the rate hike for this month, okay, in a couple weeks, June 14, has now risen, or I should say the chance of it being 0 is now at 68%, right? So it has risen quite a lot. 25 basis point hike, around 32%. So after his comments, excuse me, things switched up really, really quickly. So this is good. This is very good. And this is coming in June, right? A rate pause, not a rate hike. Although he did say that if there is a pause, doesn't mean that there won't be a hike afterwards, but at least it gives the Fed a little time to kind of digest the situation, right? That's kind of like, okay, do we need to raise more, or we should start cutting? Like, what to do, right? So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But what's not good is, the dollar and the buying power of the dollar. I've shown graphs like this many times in the past. It just keeps going down and down and down and down and down and down and down, right? So even though the rate may be halted and we may not see another bump, but ultimately we know that it's a losing battle, really. If you think about the Fed, what they're doing is a losing battle, because when you have the entire government looking to raise the debt ceiling every 2 years and printing trillions more every few years now, right? What is that going to do? That's go decrease a dollar's worth, devalue everything, and, of course, cause inflation to go higher, which then the Fed has to play this game where they're pretending like they're doing something about it by raising rates, right? But ultimately, how about we just stop? How about we just stop printing money, huh? How about that? Let's try something new. How about we not overspend and not overprint, right? How about that? I think that would be a good solution, but no one is really caring about that, and they just want future generation to fix it, and future generations are not going to fix it. They're just going to suffer from it. But anyways, that's why we have Bitcoin, and we have entered June, which traditionally speaking has been pretty good outside of 2022. And the reason 2022 was so horrible is because of everything that collapsed, the Black Swan event, pretty much for crypto. We had so many crashes that happened in 2022. So of course, that led to one of the worst sell-off months ever recorded for Bitcoin. In fact, I think I'm looking at all the red right now. I think that was the worst recorded month ever for Bitcoin. Yeah, it was. So last June was not good. So this is one of the situations where we don't want history to repeat. And I don't think so. Unless the U.S. truly defaults, we're not going to see a negative 37%. I don't think we're going to see a negative at all. I think this year, 2023, will be a good year. And the reason being, usually after a bad year, you have a good year. So if you look at 2018, you see that 2018 was horrible too, minus 14%. But that was the bad year. What about the good year afterwards? Positive 26%, right? So think about that. If we had a minus 37% last year, can we get a repeat and see a whopping 60% gain in June? I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but you know what? Who knows? Who knows? We've been really, really stagnant. We've been hovering sideways for a couple months now, right? So something is bound to happen, right? Something big is going to happen, and I'm waiting for that. But in the meantime, we continue to wait, and we continue to look at the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and it's still very good, very healthy. Nothing has changed, right? I know people tend to just focus on price, but you look at all these things, nothing has changed. Short-term holder cost basis rising, right? But Bitcoin's price is still above it. Adjusted realized price, Bitcoin is above it. The 200 weekly moving average, we are above it, right? So what does that mean? Bitcoin is pretty healthy. It's above all these metrics, right? And that means Bitcoin is gaining. So that's good. Also, I saw this. We're, in a little ascending channel right now, right? And if things continue to be good and we continue to rise, guess what's going to happen? We're just going to go up, right? It's really that simple. It's just a matter of having patience. People who have most patience usually wins, right? Especially when it comes to holding Bitcoin. People that have held the longest have made the most. It's not rocket science, right? It's actually quite simple. Fidelity is also looking at Bitcoin, right? They're looking at it from a different perspective. Fidelity is a huge asset manager, in case you guys don't know. And Fidelity is very, very into Bitcoin. Very into Bitcoin. So they're looking at it not from a 4-year perspective, but they're looking at the network size and real rates. They have come up with something called Bitcoin regression. And you could see, if you apply it all the way back to 2015, well, I mean, Bitcoin, it's pretty close, but Bitcoin definitely overshot, especially during the peaks. So, in 2017, they kind of thought that Bitcoin would top out around 11,000 using this regression model. Obviously, Bitcoin went a lot higher to about almost 20,000, right? And then you keep going, and then you see 2021, they kind of predicted Bitcoin should go to 43,000. And it went up to 69,000, right? So it actually overshot. So right now, it's definitely coming up from bottom. And it overshoots both ways too, because they thought that the bottom for Bitcoin should have been 17,004. We obviously went down a little bit lower because the FTX crash, right? So again, 2022 was not really normal, but we're past that. We're past that, right? So it's kind of interesting metrics to see how this is. It's pretty similar, but you know what? Ultimately, what is this measuring, right? Network size, the volume, the addresses, right? Both are exploding. So that's part of the growing fundamentals of Bitcoin that has not stopped and continues to head higher. And the number of holders, right? The number of the reserves on the exchanges, hash rate, all these things just continues to go up and up and up. That's why Bitcoin has never, ever been stronger than now. And now we have new innovations with BRC20, right? With ordinals, with NFTs, with stablecoin on top of Bitcoin. All good things. And of course, a lot of you guys are waiting for Hong Kong. What's going on with Hong Kong? Why do we not have trillions flowing in? Well, it does seem like there's a lot of licenses that are still being applied for. So look at this. So there is actually going to be a stablecoin that's going to be kicking in Hong Kong. So it's definitely open for sure. But it does seem like a lot of exchanges are still trying to apply for licenses. And there's rumors that people actually have to get approved as well. So I'm still trying to verify that point. But I do know that, yeah, all major exchanges are trying to get their license. So that may slow things down. Ultimately, Hong Kong opening up is a very good thing. And imagine when the next bull run really starts to kick in, right? When we start really skyrocketing, right? It's just another funnel of 8 million people coming into this space, right? And who knows when all of China's go open up, right? It's going to be phenomenal. This is just the first step in some kind of grand scheme of China, right? But ultimately, for us in crypto, this is fantastic when you have so many people and money that will be flowing in. So, good stuff. Yeah, speaking of, opening up and funneling, all the other exchanges are doing the kind of same thing, not just with China, but Gemini's go open in UAE. So that's good. Crypto.com is going to operate in Singapore. So everyone's trying to expand out as much as possible. Now, as for Canada, Bybit just recently said they're getting out. Binance getting out, right? But you still have some good ones. Kraken, deposits rose 25%. Coinbase still operates. Kraken operates. Gemini operates, right? So those of you guys in Canada still have plenty of options. But ultimately, what is this signal? Signals more adoption, funneling of more people and money into this space. So this next bull run will be unlike anything that we have seen before. I mean, seriously, there's so many more people will have exposure to Bitcoin, to Web3, to altcoins, to meme coins, right? The way to get in, the on-ramp systems, so much bigger and more vast than we have ever seen before, right? So come 2024, 2025, wow, it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be amazing. And then the last thing I want to show you guys, this is not a good thing, but this is like a new trend. This is a new trend on Twitter. And I think Ben.eth started it, where basically he wants to launch a new coin and asking people to send him ETH, right? Very controversial. And then now I'm starting to hear more and more people doing that. In fact, when I talked to Sneck yesterday, I didn't know that's what they did too, but they did it in ADA. So Goofy, who's the founder of Sneck, said that he asked for 40,000. Well, he asked for ADA, collected 40,000, used that to kind of reward the first few users. But I saw this. Some other crypto influencers that I never heard of before. He basically asked people to send him ETH, and in return they get nothing. I think it was done as a joke, honestly, right? But that joke turned into $1.1 million. He even named it, you get nothing.eth, and people sent him a whole bunch of ETH, 583 to be exact. So he collected a whopping $1 million for nothing. That's how crazy it is. I don't know if this is a joke or what. But yeah, this is a new thing on Twitter. Like, why do ICO? Why do anything when you can just put your ETH address and ask people to send it to you? Just pointing it out there. Just pointing that out, right? Gives me some ideas. Maybe you should follow me on Twitter if you don't. All right, that's pretty much it. Market's not looking so good today. We'll do some. Let's do some Q&A. I'm just go. Mr. NC, I'm afraid to look at it, so I'm not going to pull that up. All right, let me scroll through here. Corey LeBlanc, Pepe to the moon. Is Pepe really going up? I think all the meme coins are losing traction. Oh, it's up to 2%. That's a little better because yesterday was below 500 million. So it came back a little bit. Stan. Most crypto channels, including this one, actually stalled in terms of sub, which suggests the opposite of industry growth is the fact. What's your point? What's your point? Retail investors. Yes, that's why I stream, because retail investors are bored and they are getting out. But that doesn't mean that institutions, the big boys, it doesn't mean that they're not loading up. They're not going to be watching this channel. They're not going to be watching any channel on YouTube. Stan, I feel like, I don't know the point of that super chat if you're trying to sound bearish, you're trying to call me out, you're trying to make yourself feel better. I don't know, but if you don't want to be in the game, you don't have to be. No one's forcing you. Let's just say if on Twitter, if I say send ETH to this address, I can't tell you what it's for because Gary will probably be knocking on the door then, but it'll be for good stuff. I'll just throw that out there since that's such a popular thing these days. Nas says, I love you. I look forward to listening to you more than my wife. I have that effect on middle-aged men. I don't know how what your wife feels about that. With China coming to crypto, how do you see VeChain performing? I like to think it will help them, but they no longer operate in China, so they're not really Chinese based at all anymore. Although they have some very strong partnerships with companies that are in China. So they definitely still have some relationship, but they're not based in China. Binance suspended AU bank deposit in Australia. Do you know about this? Yes, I covered that a few days ago. MetaMates, you don't have to keep repeating the same thing. Yes. Yes. There's no more bank deposits because the bank pulled out. That's basically it. So Binance has to find a new partner in Australia. Yes, everything's still on track with the house. All right, MetaMates, I'm just going like timeout. I'm gonna put you in timeout because you're not even listening to what I'm saying, and you're just shilling this. You just keep posting the same thing. Is it more fun to drive Ferrari or the Plaid? Ferrari. Anything's more fun than driving the Plaid. The Plaid's not fun to drive at all. It's just fast. People don't realize that. Fast does not equate fun. You get a rush, with the Plaid, and it lasts for, like 3 seconds, and that's about it. It's not a fun car to drive. There's no Tesla that's fun to drive. Let's just make that perfectly clear. There will be Tesla guys that will say, oh, it's the best in the world, and it drives so good, and it's so fun. It's not fun. On a fun scale from 0 to 10, Tesla's funness is probably right around a 1 or 2. So yeah. You know what's funny about my new basketball court in my house? Those baskets, okay? Those backboards, such a big problem, big controversy. It's like something that you would never, ever, ever think that would be a problem, but it has been for like close to a year now. Supposedly, because I'm trying to get backboards that, are pretty close to the wall. They're about like a foot away from the wall. And of course they screw onto these studs with backings, right? So supposedly the manufacturer, the biggest manufacturer that created that, is going through a lawsuit because some person that bought it didn't mount it right, and the backboard fell and killed some kid. So they are being sued. So they recalled all of their backboards. And then another manufacturer that also does the same thing recalled all of theirs, or they stopped selling theirs because they don't want to get sued too, even though the company was not in the wrong because it was mounted wrong, right? So basically you can't get backboards anymore. So now the company I'm working with sourced some other backboard, but now the requirement for the backing is way more than before. And unfortunately, the drywall's up already. So now I have to take down the drywall to put more wood backing and then put the drywall back on, then to mount the backboard. So it's like one of those things you would never figure it should be a problem. Is. I guess most people don't go through this because they don't buy backboards for their house. But this is the problem. Right? And it's a very limited industry. I'm like, how hard can it be to just come up with some mounts for a backboard and just nail it to the wall? But it's not like that at all. Anyways. First world problems. That sump pump is strong enough for that height. It was designed for that height, man. Otherwise, we would have problems. Troy. Still not looking that good. Can I dunk? No, never been able to. Never been able to. I mean, exercises today, or I mean, sports science today is a lot better than before. So now you got all these gurus on TikTok that tell you how to dunk, and they teach you actually good exercises to do. But when I was growing up, very, very rarely do you see people under like 6'5" dunking. But now it's different. Seven circles. Not here. Troy, don't worry about it, man. I know you're concerned, but don't worry about it. I am looking at a battery backup solution. I'm getting solar, so battery backup would tie perfectly to the solar, but the ones that were suggested for my sump pump are like $5,000. I'm like, I don't need like a car-sized battery for my little sump pump. So it's kind of ridiculous. Thoughts on Tesla will be at 2,000 by 2027? I don't think that's possible. They just hit 200, right? So they're already at 6 billion. So you're talking about 2,000. They would be at 6 trillion market cap in 4 years. Zero probability of that. Zero chance. I know a lot of people are very hopeful for robo-taxis. And once they do get robo-taxis working, and anyone can turn their Tesla into a taxi, yes, they'll probably be at 6 trillion or 10 trillion by then. But that ain't coming anytime soon. No matter how good FSD is, and I get all these updates, and yes, it makes driving a little bit better, but we're nowhere close to fully autonomous driving with Teslas. Not even close. You need to be at like 100%, right, for people to trust it. And it's more like 70-ish% right now. Even with all the updates, I would say 70%. There are a lot of situations that it just doesn't know what to do or handle. It's not intuitive like a human. There's just a lot of stuff. But by 2027, it ain't going to be at 2,000. Just set it at 7.5 and then dunk? Yeah, I could do it then. I have no vertical anymore. Only horizontal, no vertical. I tried to swap it. Gala 1 doesn't have any value. I transfer $100 into Gala into ETH, and it said 1 cent. Yeah, V1 has no more value. V2 is what has value. So hopefully you didn't leave it on Coinbase, because Coinbase did not get you the conversion. What is Nvidia at? Man, Nvidia just keeps on going. Well, I think it was at 400 already before it came down a little bit. Yeah, it topped out at like 401. It's not too far off. Nvidia. What is AMD at? AMD should be in the AI game too. I don't know why AMD has fallen so much. Well, AMD is not small either. Almost 200 billion. What is Intel at? Did Intel completely die? Ouch. Ouch. Intel is only worth 130 billion now. I mean, Intel was so far ahead of everyone else. Now AMD is even worth more than Intel by a lot. Almost getting close to double. See, this is a perfect example of having bad leadership can ruin a company. Intel, for the longest time when I was growing up, no one was close. No semiconductor company was close. AMD was a fraction of what Intel is worth. And now look at NVIDIA, look at AMD, and look at Intel, right? Just bad leadership. They didn't know how to transist to mobile, and then now to GPUs. I'll leave this headline up. This is a good one. I have Ledger, but want to diversify. For holding top 15 projects, would you recommend SafePal or Tangem? Don't want to spend a lot. You know, Joshua, you could just use a mobile wallet, okay, in conjunction with your Ledger, right? SafePal and Tangem, I have not tried either one, but you could download a Trust Wallet onto your phone right now without spending any money, and you're able to diversify and get whatever you want. Basically, it supports like the top 100 coins. It's a really good mobile wallet, and you still have the ability to secure your own crypto because it gives you your, you gotta export out your recovery phrase. So you may want to think about that. And you don't have to put everything on Trust Wallet. If you just want to diversify, you could still leave whatever in Ledger and the rest in Trust. But as for Ledger itself, the controversy, I don't think that has gone away. So I don't quite know what the deal is with that. Let's just look up. Yeah, this is a hardware wallet. So, I mean, if you want to pay a little more money, I mean, you can. It's $50, but Trust Wallet is free and has been working just fine. Anything with safe or trust in the name doesn't sound safe or trustworthy. Well, I've been using Trust Wallet for years. Knock on wood that it stays good because it has been good. So just bought a Model Y. Should I be happy? You tell me. You tell me if you're happy. Hopefully you enjoy it. Model Y is a good car. It has its flaws, but it's a pretty good car. But there's so many of them now. I see so many Model Ys and 3s everywhere. It's starting to lose its appeal, right? Like before you still get a lot of looks. Now it's like, yeah, you see them so much. It's kind of like the first adopters of iPhone. You know, it's very cool. People wanted to see it. But after like 10 generations, do anyone really care about iPhone anymore? No, because they all look the same. That's the problem Tesla have. They don't upgrade their cars, not the looks like normal car companies. So everyone looks the same. All right, let's conclude. Overall, we're in a new month. We're in June. So better days are coming. We know that most likely we're not going to get another rate hike this month. The debt ceiling is going to be resolved. The fundamentals of Bitcoin indicate that Bitcoin is going to be doing this in the future, right? And Hong Kong, we're still waiting for them to wake up, but they will, and now bring trillions more into the market. All right, guys, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, same time as always, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.